going into my basketball. Every time I rock, man, this is how we rap and raw. Peace to my man, now we got the camera out. Every time I spit it, cross over the...
All right, hello everyone. This is Josh, also known as Yashu, and you're tuning into the 44th episode of the TLOY Talks podcast. You will definitely see it like everywhere, like when it's like all streaming to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, much more. And let's get it started right now. We actually have one of the dopest artists to come out of like Ottawa right now. He has released like over like 40 plus singles in 1 year, and that's like a very well-known fact. He'll be doing his annual like Ottawa concert sometime later within the year that he usually does like every other year too. He'll be doing a meet and greet in the next day after this podcast as well too. I know like it might be a little bit too late on that, but like definitely check it out if you see like B-roll and all that. And like he's been consistent with like a lot of events, performances, and much more too. We have Ottawa's own NLN in the building today. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. That was a hefty intro. Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Nah, like we conversated like earlier before too on like everything about it, like with music, with other stuff too, like like with the whole like Ottawa scene and all that. And it's actually pretty interesting right now too. Like there's like a lot of like dope stuff coming out like in the city right now with the Cloud, City of Fidelia, my guy Yuso, the whole all Cappy our like album and all that that's coming up with like Ottawa and Toronto artists too, and like a whole lot of stuff right now, so
hell yeah, bro. Ottawa's next in line, bro, for sure. Definitely.
I've been like tapping in with the stuff right now with the interviews and like the other content too. So where'd you grow up like in Ottawa, and like what was like the environment like for you growing up? Like would you say it was like you had like a very great childhood back then, or would it be like very different?
I grew up mainly in the East End of Ottawa. I moved around. See, I wasn't born in Ottawa. I was born in Sudbury, but I moved to Ottawa when I was like 2 or something like that. So it was like before I could even like know I kind of moved type thing. But yeah, I grew up kind of in the East End. I kind of moved around within that area. I would say my upbringing was pretty good, like I was a child that wasn't really like aware of my surroundings in the sense where like I wasn't really focused on anything else but just like having fun and like playing around and stuff like that. Like all greater issues when it came to like, I don't know, like money or struggling financially, like that's not something that I would really pay attention to. I was a really artistic kid when I was younger too. Like
True.
I liked a lot of I like to sing, but like before I made music, I loved like just dancing, acting, just anything within the arts, and like performing was like kind of my thing. Like I really loved performing. So
yeah, man.
yeah.
I know with Ottawa, like around that time too, like they had like a lot of people like that were like coming up with the whole like CP record situation with Masari, Belly, Mia Martina, and then like also like Keisha Shantae, who was like one of like the newer faces like in the scene too. But like in terms of like the whole like community within Ottawa, like was it big at that time, like in terms of music?
Growing up,
Yeah.
I mean, I was a kid, bro. I didn't start making music until like I started making music 6 years ago.
Oh, true.
So like anything involving like the Ottawa music scene prior to that, I wasn't really aware of, unless if it was 2016.
True.
Like 2016
Yeah.
on to now, like I wasn't really like aware
true.
of like the music
Yeah.
scene.
But like the first instance, like when you noticed it, was that like could you like even like describe that like first instance when you saw it like in that sense?
Hell yeah. The first time I really like recognized like the only people that I would really know in Ottawa that were doing their thing was like Metro and them and Lido. I remember like just being in high school and just seeing all their types of music videos and stuff like that, and it was really cool to see. I wasn't really like the type to be in like I just, those were the only rappers I kind of really saw in Ottawa kind of doing their thing. So yeah, definitely pay respects to them.
Nah, 100%, man. And correct me if I'm wrong. You're Rwandan, correct?
Yeah.
True. Yeah, because
how did you know that?
I mean, I was like tapping in with the whole like CBC like interview type thing.
Oh, I said that in my interview?
Yeah. So
okay. I was like,
I just wanted to be correct on that.
Yeah.
But
I was like, Nardwar? Like,
yeah,
how did you know that?
Nah,
yeah,
man.
for sure.
True. But like, growing up Rwandan, describe to me more about like Rwandan culture, like in the household and like in your life, as well as like in everything else, like in general and all that too.
Yeah. There's a lot of music in the house. I could say that. Like there was a lot of music. I remember just getting woken up to like gospel music on Sundays to like clean the house and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, basically like typical, like, I guess, immigrant kind of stories. But yeah, very cultured. I don't know the language all that well, but my mom always tries to like tell me things here and there. And like, I'll understand it, but like not like mastered it completely, you know? But
true.
yeah, it was definitely Rwandan raised for sure. Definitely.
No, 100% too. And I mean, with different like African cultures as well too. I know like each culture is like very different in terms of like the food, in terms of everything else too. Like I'm Ethiopian by the way too, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like we have like a different way of like living than like other cultures too. So how are like Rwandans like very different from other like African like cultures or like ethnicities in that sense?
I feel like, not to always make it about music, but I feel like Rwandans are always like music oriented. I don't know why. Like, even like just like with my mom, for example, like I always like will just like catch her like just singing around the house, you know, like, or just like being very vocal about just like music and how like, I guess it's just embedded in the culture. I don't know if it's the same, like maybe for more African cultures it's probably the same, but like in terms of my upbringing, there was a lot of music involved in terms of like just in the household, you know?
Nah, 100% too. Because when I look at the whole like African like music scene and all that too, like with Afro beats, with African hip hop and all that, like you have like Nigeria, Ghana, like South Africa as
Yeah.
like the three main hubs for like music like blowing up in that sense too. But with knowing about like Rwandans like love for music and everything else too, do you ever feel like there was like some issues on like the whole like scene like not blowing up from there and all that, or
Oh, just in general? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
not too tapped in, bro. I can't lie.
Nah.
I'm not too tapped in into like the Rwandan music scene, but
True. Nah,
yeah.
100%, man. But saying that, like even like with whole like gospel type stuff,
Mhm.
have you ever felt like, with church and like even like with the whole like aspect of choir and all that, like did it play like a pivotal part like in the growth of like your music like in that sense too?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's actually so funny to mention that. Me and my manager like did choir in like the 4th grade.
True.
So like and when we did choir, it was always like me at the like, I'd always have like these types of solos, like different solos in the choir, and I feel like that was like, I don't know. Like I said, I really liked performing when I was younger. So like
True.
little stuff like that, like I was always so keen to do. I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess I just like enjoyed the spotlight and I guess less enjoyed the spotlight, more so enjoyed performing. You know, I was
True.
always like really big on performing, no matter what the aspects was. So
Yeah, man,
yeah,
nah.
choir definitely, like choir in 4th grade at school
Yeah,
was
man.
definitely a part of that for sure. I think subconsciously.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Nah, 100%. And aside from the music and everything else too, like what were you like from the start of birth until like adulthood?
Just like as a kid,
Just like as a kid and all that.
I was like the kid that was like always talking in class. I feel like I was always like I said, entertainer, right? So I just like to make
Yeah,
people
man.
laugh, things of that nature. Sometimes it's like always not that good, teachers trying to scold you and stuff like that. I remember 4th grade was just the worst because it's like, I don't know, teacher was really on my case, but yeah, I was just basically like, I wouldn't really say class clown, but I was just trying to make people laugh and I was talking. I was very talkative when I was younger. Yeah. The more I grew up though, like the more I went through high school and whatever the case is, I became more reserved because as I started to make music, I locked myself in the basement a lot, just like constantly trying to focus on blowing up and like things of that nature. So it's like to go from like talking a lot, being in the basement kind of forced me to be more introverted and like lock in on like my sound and what I'm trying to do. So yeah, for sure.
Nah, 100% too. And like even when you talked about like your whole like musical background and history, like being in choir, your mother like singing like while gospel music like was like played like in that sense too.
Yeah.
Like what inspired you to become like this whole like multidisciplinary artist and taking your craft seriously like in that sense?
Multidisciplinary, I would say, came from just not really knowing anybody. Like I said, like I was probably the first one in my friend group. No, I was definitely the first one in my friend group to start making music. So I didn't always have like a videographer at my disposal because I didn't have the money for it, or like I didn't always have like a producer. I would just look up YouTube beats. But I guess what kind of like opened my mind to being more versatile, I mean more disciplinary in the sense where like multidisciplinary, was when I started making beats. But even before that, I feel like even before that, like I started making music 2017 on BandLab. And then I would just do it myself. I just figured that like, I don't know why, but in my mind, I never thought like I needed an engineer. I just like taught myself how to engineer because I was like, I want to make a song, you know? And then like, obviously like people I would definitely look up to was like Russ, who like does everything himself too. So like seeing him succeed and knowing that you can do it yourself and still make it, that was kind of like my ideal of success. Like always being able to turn back to him and know like, oh yeah, like this is really possible what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah, no, 100% too. And I feel like even like in that sense too, like we're just gonna get like onto like this next question too.
Yeah.
But you know, just before that, do you ever feel like it's better to make it like out of your hometown than like rather like moving out to like a different city to kind of like blow up like in that sense too? Because I know like how like most people from like small towns would have to kind of move out to their like to like a different city to kind of blow up. Like I don't know, like what's like your opinion on that in that sense?
You don't need to move to make it. Definitely not. That's a misconception. As soon as the internet started becoming a thing, like you don't need to move to be able to make it because you can post a single post and have people from all over the world be tapped in, you know, even if it's not that many streams. Like say you post something and it gets like 100 views, but like 50 of them are from England. You know, you've never been there, but now you have 50 people that listen to your music out there,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I feel like that whole like hometown mentality in the sense of like, you have to leave in order to make it is a misconception. It's because the internet is accessible to literally everyone in the world. And that's where you put out your music, you know?
Yeah, man.
But definitely like, obviously some people might say like I'm contradicting myself because I'm in Toronto.
Yeah.
Some people might say I'm like contradicting myself,
Yeah.
but I think it's very important that like you travel. I'm not saying don't travel, but I'm saying like to completely shift your focus to a different city is not a necessity in order to make it.
Yeah, no.
That's like my personal belief.
Yeah, no, 100% too, because, you know, with your growth, like in Ottawa too, just like being in the city, like blowing up from there too.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, because like with people that are from that same city that have to move to Toronto to sort of make it too, like you kind of notice like this whole like difference in this trend where like blowing up like in a different area is like going to be different than like blowing up like at home too. So,
Yeah.
and, you know, just to even get onto this question, how can you explain like more like the differences like in your experiences between like Toronto and Ottawa in terms of like the way of living, like social norms, etc., and all that?
I've only been in Toronto for about probably like 10 hours.
True.
So I haven't really like experienced like in terms of like living situation. But I would say the similarities, I would say like both places are definitely diverse.
True.
Like both places are definitely diverse. Like we have diversity in Ottawa, you know, Toronto has it as well. And I guess the music scene is a little bit more solidified here because you guys have like, you know, Drake, The Weeknd, whatever the case is, Ali Gotti, all types of people, Jesse Reyes, you know.
Yeah.
You guys have pioneers that have already set the way. So it kind of invites new artists to kind of start to like shop their music around and just increase the culture in general. I feel like Ottawa is still in the beginning stages, but it is definitely furthest that it has ever been, I would say personally.
Yeah,
you know?
no, 100% too.
Yeah.
And I think, do you ever feel like there's more like ingrown talent from there that made it like in the city just by staying there rather than like, you know, moving to Toronto or to like Vancouver and all that? Or
Do I think that there is?
well, yeah, like if there's like more like talent there that are kind of like making it like in their city, like not having to like kind of like leave to like a different city that kind of like made it there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's definitely people in the city like that don't have to necessarily move. I feel like the mindset is to move, but like, I mean, I'm still live there and
True.
there's people that listen to my music, you know? So
True.
yeah, man, I don't know. I just feel like the whole movie thing is kind of dead. And especially the fact, I don't really feel like it's cool to leave the place you're from and not represent it in a way, you know? Like my whole goal with Ottawa is to make sure that wherever I go, like I'm in Toronto talking about Ottawa. You get what I'm trying to say? And not like go to Toronto and rep Toronto, where
true.
when in reality, that's not really where I'm from, you know? And I know that there's a lot of people in the city that don't necessarily have that beacon of hope or have that person to be like, yo, he's in a different city. He's doing his thing with the music. He's
true.
selling out arenas. He's doing shows. And he's from where I'm from, you know? I feel like that relatability and that tangibility is kind of lacking in the city. But there are people that are doing it that still rep it, you know? Like, shout out Night Lavelle. Night Lavelle is definitely a good example for sure.
Yeah, 100%, man. And, you know, just getting on to part 2 right now, like, what would like a day in the studio be like for you?
Day in the life?
Yeah.
So I wake up, you know, my studio, okay, for reference, my studio is right next to my bed. So it's
true.
like, I'll like wake up and go straight to the studio. So a regular day for me is I'll wake up probably like 12, wake up, brush my teeth, of course, go to the studio, make some music. These days I've been going live on TikTok a lot.
True.
So I'll probably say like that's probably added in like but I'll be going live and making music though.
Yeah, man.
So make music and then just stay in the studio, soak up game. There's always something to do. Like I'll be watching a lot of interviews. Less these days because the people that I watch haven't been dropping as much interviews, but there's always something to do. So I'll probably just stay in the studio and then if I remember to eat, go upstairs, eat, go to the washroom if I have to, and then just go to bed and then just rinse, repeat. Like that's like I'm really a homebody. Like that's why like the whole basement room, like the whole brand is because it's me and my managers just like always stay home in the basement, like working, you know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've had like experience like going to like outside studios before in the past, or
I have, yeah. Yeah, with my producer actually. Yeah. I went with Rooftop. Shout out Rooftop, you know, he's a producer out of Ottawa too.
Yeah,
the best producer out of Ottawa too. And we definitely like, I wanted to try it out because I had never been to a studio prior to like last year. Like I spent 5 years in the basement making music dolo, you know? So it's like, it was cool. It was definitely a good experience. And it kind of prompted us to kind of come here so that we can like be together for long amounts of hours of time and just cook because our chemistry is really good together. Like me and Roof, like, for those who know, like me and Rooftop, like we don't miss. Like that's not something that we do.
Yeah. 100%, man. And like even in that experience too, like even with that whole short experience, like being in that outside studio, like what would be that like actual difference, you know, like being in a home studio that you crafted on your own versus like being in an actual studio with a lot of like unique equipment that's like never seen like in that sense too and all that, you know?
Less comfortability. That's what I would say. In my basement, there's nobody there. So I can literally just wake up and just say whatever I want on the microphone. And like, I know there's no eyes. When I first went to the studio, it was Rooftop and my manager. And when we went, like, it was so weird because the first time I hopped in the booth, like we were trying to record the whole situation. My manager tried to record me as I was in the booth. And I got so nervous. I was like, bro, you need to get out, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, I guess since you're in the basement alone, it kind of hits different, you know? You're more liberated. You're more free to be creative.
Yeah.
I feel like once there's more eyes on you, there's kind of more pressure. But now I feel like it's calm. Like I've literally everybody I hang around with, I've recorded it in front of them, every single one of them. So it's more comfortable. Like I'm more lenient to say like whatever I want in the studio, which is always important.
Yeah, 100% too. And I think like what I could actually say too is like with home studios, you know, it's like, you know, like the environment around you, like the settings, like what you could do, like, from what you could relate to, like within that whole aspect of that home studio to, your bedroom, your photos on the wall to like in an actual studio, like you really don't get to have that experience unless you kind of embody it through like self-creation or anything else too. And I could also say too with, like, as you said, like the amount of people too, and just the environment, like you get like shook into an environment where you have to like follow these like aspects to kind of be that type of person and all that too, versus like in a home studio, no one's like watching, like no one's around too. So you kind of like make your own rules, like set your own standards on how to make the best studio experience like for yourself and all that too. So
yeah, it's like pressure to perform. That's what I feel like. I mean, it doesn't feel like that now, except if I'm in the studio with people I don't know, which I don't think it's ever happened. But like if I'm comfortable, like the people that I'm with, I'm very comfortable with, so I'm able to like record no stress. But
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
it definitely felt weird the first time though, for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. But the song that I actually tapped in, I think it's 2 M's or something like that,
See,
or
man?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's like one song that kind of stand out from what I've
Yeah.
heard before too. So like, what inspired you to like rap in French and like even like make a French single? Do you feel like it connects to more fan bases like within your region or within everywhere, like in that sense?
Wow. Team Mem. Wow. I can like getting Team Mem brought up in an interview is crazy. Okay, so Team Mem, the story behind that song, I made it when I was 15 years old. Okay. So it was a year into me making music, and I made it in my bedroom. And I remember like just having like hand-me-down speakers from my uncle, a 2012 MacBook from my mom, and I was just like sitting there on my nightstand with a pull-out chair, like the foldable ones that like you use at the beach or something, or like when you go camping. Like yeah, that's the one I used to sit down in my bed. It was right there. But that's back when I didn't have really any equipment and a USB microphone. And like I was just watching a lot of Color Studio, like the Color Studio. I was watching a lot of French artists like do those like do those performances. And I was like, this is hard. I speak French. I'm bilingual. So it's like I never really tried to make a song in French. I was always trying to do it in English. So I just like one day I was just like, let me just try it. And I tried it once and it was kind of mid. And then I tried it again. And then off a YouTube beat, and Chimem came out of it. And I remember like I had this whole like rollout for it. And that was the first time actually when I was trying to start to take music very serious. I remember I spent 2 weeks locked in my room, trying to look up editorial playlists to get placed on. That was kind of like, I was new to everything, bro. Like I was new to everything. And my mom was very mad because I would literally lock myself in there for like days at a time. Like sometimes like only leaving to go to the washroom and eating and then coming back, like really, really locked in. And yeah, man, it did pretty well. Like locally, I guess like in high school, like people like kind of liked the song or whatever, but it ended up getting placed on an editorial playlist. And then like for the longest time, I was just trying to catch another one that did as well. And I was kind of mad at the success of Chimem because one, it was a French song and I was trying to blow up as a rapper. I didn't want Chimem to be like my beacon of like people only knowing me for doing French songs. So that's when I really locked in on my rapping and like tried to perfect it as much as I could to try to like just be the best rapper ever that I could possibly be so that I could overtake that song. But then I after like becoming good, like I had to like go through it several like years of it. After becoming good at rapping, I come to terms with the fact that Chimem is a standalone song within itself. I made it at 15 years old. There's people that still listen to it till this day. Yeah. So I shouldn't diminish its success just because of like my internal terms that I have in my head, Like I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I should have just like appreciated it for what it is and just be really happy that I have a song that's like has over 20,000 streams and I made it at 15 years old and people still listen to it, Like, but it was definitely a blessing. But Chimem is definitely a moment for sure.
Nah, for sure. Because like even with, being like an English like rapping artist who can do like songs in French too, like, bilingual and all that too, even in Canada, it kind of creates like more diversity to open up other like opportunities as well too. You could perform in Quebec in like certain regions, like in like Sherbourne in Quebec City, like up north, much more too, or like even certain regions in Canada where, people can only speak French and all that. So, more fan bases, more opportunities for like SoCan factor. And it just kind of like opens like that lane right there too. Even like from what I've noticed, like with a lot of like French artists like that are from like Montreal or Ottawa that do come to like other cities like in Canada, it is hard for them to kind of perform like, in English speaking like areas where like, because it's like low ticket sales, not that much too. But, when you go like anywhere like in Montreal, Quebec City or up north, like that fan base is going to be there too. And like being an English speaking like artist who could do French too in a bilingual like aspect too, like it kind of like opens up those doors from there and all that. So
yeah, bro, I have the cheat code. I have the cheat code when it comes to like making music because anybody can rap in different languages, but not everybody's gonna be good, you know? I learned how to make like hit songs in English. So I know like what works and what doesn't work. So to be able to translate all those melodies and those raps like into and that knowledge into French, like I have a like an idea of what I'm gonna do with French, but I'm not gonna say it just yet. I think I'm gonna let it play out first.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. And I know like you have like a lot of singles like already out right now, but are
Yeah.
you more inclined to dropping an album soon with the amount of singles or?
Album, see, like the real ones always get mad at me, bro. Like I not dropping an album until I blow up. That's the promise that I made to myself. I feel like that's very important. I model a lot of my come up with Russ, and like ideally I want to be, oh, I mean, I can't say that yet, but ideally, like I just want my debut album. I have such high expectations for it, then to drop it on deaf ears will kind of like be letting myself down, you know? And I need to keep my word that I'm gonna release it once I blow up, so that once millions of people have eyes on me, then the music is gonna get its just due and it'll be able to do what it should do, you know?
Yeah.
I believe that my debut album will go platinum, like RIAA, like not Canada. Obviously Canada if it's RIAA, but like I believe my debut album will go platinum. So in order to pay it that same respect, I'm not gonna drop it on deaf ears. So yeah, it's definitely gonna come when I blow. I definitely started it. Like I've been started it like 2 years ago, but it's definitely a process though, for sure. It's a process, definitely.
Yeah, man. I mean, I could definitely like agree with you like on that sense too, because like with artists that have done like more single wise stuff than albums, like Russ, Arizona, Zervas, and all that.
Oh yeah,
Spitty and all that too. A whole lot. Like I could definitely say like La Russell too and all that.
yeah.
I feel like they know how to connect their fans through those singles, and I think with fans like they could find a single that they like and it'll be like very like long lasting. As you said, like even with Tumam, people still like listen to that song to this day and all that. So do you even feel like they're more like long lasting, with impact wise than with albums and all that?
Singles?
Yeah.
Are singles more long lasting and impactful than albums?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you the answer of the world and then I'll give you my answer. In the world, like a lot of stuff is come and go, but I genuinely believe that I'm an anomaly. I genuinely believe that. I believe that my music, with the substance that it has and the quality that it has, it'll be like long lasting. So whether it's in an album form or whether it's in a single form, I believe my music will like have its longevity,
Yeah.
But these days there's a lot of like microwavable music.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always been like that, but especially these days, fast with TikTok or whatever the case is, like there's a lot of music that comes and goes, and a lot of people are looking to get a hit on TikTok as opposed to actually adding substance into the music. There's a Russ line. I know I keep messing with Russ, but there's a Russ line where he says, in Cold Wind Blows freestyle, he says, something along the lines of like, am I the only one who still cares about the music? Like I feel it in the same regard where it's like good music stays and microwavable music doesn't last long. Like you might get a couple dollars off of TikTok, but what's that to, making sure your kids are straight? So
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Nah, 100% too. And, I want to get more into the whole like fan base situation too. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone ever talks about this, but how did you manage to grow your fan base from the start of your career until now? And like, what were like some ways or practices to initiate that growth and like maintaining that?
Bro, that's so crazy you even asked me that question, bro. I wouldn't say I don't know because I do. One, first of all, I want to say that it's absolute blessing that people even go out of the way to listen to my music. Like I'm so grateful, man, because I spent so many hours in a basement, like with no lights and just long nights, hours learning how to mix, going to school tired, sleeping through all lectures, all classes, So the fact that people go out of their way to listen to my music and they actually enjoy it is the utmost blessing to me. How it grew though, it's just consistency, bro. I dropped a song a week for over 2 years, bro. I was hard-headed. I'm like, yo, someone is going to listen to this. And when they will, they'll realize it's hard and they will stick with me, I knew that I wasn't tripping, Because me and my manager, we were kind of just in the basement. We always knew like, this is going to get its just due at some point in time. And I started dropping a song a week in 2019. I ended in 2022 2022 or 2022. And over the course of like getting placed on editorial playlists, over the course of like just being interactive on social media, creating my brand Basement Room, creating a consistent image for myself, people just started coming in over time. It was definitely not an overnight thing. And I'm definitely not where I'm about to be because I know it's just going to take off from here. But I'm definitely grateful to say that there are people from different parts of the world that listen to me. And I'm very, 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 very blessed. Very blessed for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, man. And I feel like even in that sense too, like with fans, like it creates more opportunities to do shows, to go to different areas too. Like that's why like you're in Toronto right now to even have these like interactions too. And you know, I wanted to ask about like that experience, you know, like touring and doing other types of stuff too. So you've only toured like within like Ottawa, correct?
I haven't gone on an official tour yet,
True.
but I've done shows in Ottawa. Like I think I did like 5 shows last year.
True.
One of them being like my own headlining show.
True.
Yeah, so I haven't toured yet.
True. So tell me about like, you know, your whole like local performing experience and how has that impacts like, you know, performing at like, you know, like a lot, you know, certain shows like in Ottawa and like gaining like your fan base from there.
I love performing with my heart and soul. Like I genuinely love it. Like that's one of the things in music where like it's one of my favorite parts about music because you can actually see your music manifest itself into real life. Like I remember my first ever performance was this nonprofit organization called Jack.org. And me and my manager, like we just pulled up and they offered us like, you know, change to perform. And then we just went there and did the show and it was so, it was emotional. I can't lie. Like I remember there was a point in time when I was on stage, this 2021 or 2, I can't remember, but I remember there was a point in time where I was on stage and like they put their lights up, you know, they put their lights up and stuff like that. And I was just like, I almost came to tears because I was like, wow, like I've been envisioning this moment for at that point would have been like 4 or 5 years. So to see it manifest itself into real life is genuinely a blessing. But at my show, my headlining show last year, that was the first time we ever did it. It was a Basement Room production. Like it was the first time ever doing it. And it was lit, man. Like that was the first time where people sung my lyrics to me ever in life. And I'm so happy that it was at like my headlining show, you know? So yeah, it's definitely a blessing. And I'm very, very excited for this next one because it's going to be sold out. And oh my gosh, it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
I'm not excited.
Yeah, man.
Not excited.
Yeah, nah, 100% too. And we'll speak more later on that too. You know, I want to get more into this whole like aspect of like TikTok right now because that's where you're more active on promoting your stuff and like engaging and all that, correct?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
True.
I'm active on TikTok. I'm active really everywhere, but yeah, I've been going live on TikTok. I can't lie. Yeah.
Nah, most definitely.
Definitely some real ones on TikTok. Shout out to them.
Yeah, man. Nah, likewise, and a lot of stuff coming through too. But yeah, I mean, you know, I've heard Kelly Clarkson talk about this too, you know, within the idea of TikTok. But do you think, you know, finding a way to make your music go viral on TikTok is a fair, creative, effective marketing strategy proposal for artists to use, or does it diminish like the artistry in that sense?
You shouldn't go into the studio thinking about TikTok. Hell no. No, absolutely not. I don't go into the studio and be like, oh my gosh, this is going to blow on TikTok. Yeah. Absolutely not. No, I go into the studio and vent about my life. That's it. The studio is very selfish experience for me because I use it to get my ideas across. If I don't make music, I'm purposeless. I don't move, like, I don't think before I move, you know? Like, music is a very reflective thing for me. So to think about an app where I might blow up on, like, there's someone that could be right now actively trying to blow up on TikTok. Whole time they would have blown up on YouTube if they would have tried hard enough, you know?
Yeah, man.
So it's like to put all your eggs in one basket and say that TikTok, like if I don't have TikTok, then nothing's gonna happen. Like I started to gain supporters before I even made a TikTok. You know?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like, I think I got stopped in public at 700 followers with my manager downtown Ottawa, and I had no TikTok.
True.
Yeah, I hadn't made a single TikTok.
Yeah.
So
I definitely agree too. But I mean, even with other stuff too, like we could like talk about like certain like things that are blowing up on TikTok right now with Flyana Boss, you know, like those 2 girls like running like to the camera and all that. Like you know about that, right?
No.
Like it's like these like 2 girls like rapping and like they're running like to the
camera.
camera.
I think I've seen it. I think like I might have seen it in passing, but yeah.
Yeah, man, and like also like the whole like Pinky Doll situation. Like how do you even feel about those campaigns right now?
What's Pinky Doll?
Like, so Pinky Doll, it's the girl that's like kind of on the lives, and like she's kind of like doing like the whole like NPC. So
Okay,
like,
okay.
how do you feel about like those like trends right now on TikTok?
I said let's do it. Oh, and I wanna make it clear because it kind of sounded like I was a hater on TikTok. I'm live on TikTok every day, by the way. I just want to make that clear to all cameras. I'm live on TikTok like all the time. Like I'm not hating on TikTok at all. I'm just saying that like to depend on TikTok for success is a bad mindset. TikTok can blow you up, yes. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a focus in it because I would be ignorant to say that. But like, don't depend on it. Like if I don't have TikTok, then I'm miserable. Like don't think like that. Like you can delete TikTok off your phone and still blow up. But that's funny as hell though. Like I was I was watching, the trend is actually funny. I seen it before it blown because I'm on live, right? So like I'll see people that go live, just like in my recommended in my feed since I go live often, it shows me a lot of lives. And I seen her before she had like the viewers and before she blew up. And I was just like, what's going on here? I was mad confused.
Yeah.
But hey, she's a mother, she's getting her bag. Like, I don't know, like what's her name? Pinky Doll?
Yeah, like Pinky Doll, like the whole NPC type stuff, and then the Flyana boss girls like running like on camera and all that.
Oh yeah.
Those are kind of like the two trends that I'm seeing right now on TikTok. But like even in like that sense too, like in the future, do you feel like it might be more consistent to even do that like in the long run, or do you feel like they would have to change their content up in that sense?
Honestly, there's some people that just like TikTok is their thing. Like I wouldn't even like be as arrogant to say like don't do anything that you don't believe is right for you. Like she believed that it was right for her to sit in front of a camera and just NPC it to gifts. And I don't have no issues. Like, get your bag. She's a mother. She's getting her bag. Like, I don't got no problem with her. Like, shout out her. Shout out Pinky Doll, you said?
Yeah, Pinky Doll and then Flyana Boss too.
Pinky Doll, shout out to you. You're doing your thing. And if you see this, you're doing well.
Likewise, man. I mean, let's get back into the other topics right now too. Your music was like played like in the radio, I think a couple times like on. So I want to talk more about that and like how was like that feeling like, even having your music on like many like streaming platform playlists and like being played on like local radio. Do you feel like your life changed in that sense too?
It helped so much. I can't even sit here and say it didn't. I remember the first time I got played on radio, like, oh my Lord, like it was like, oh my gosh, I wish my manager could sit in this chair and explain to you. It was like the most euphoric moment I had ever experienced. Like I still, every time I think about it, I get butterflies in my stomach because there was no manifestation of success up until that point. When I first got played on the local radio station, Hot 899 in my city, just to be able to sit in my same basement and like turn on the radio and hear my song that I produced, no credit, like it was like, words can't even describe. I was so happy. And then it started happening more frequently, which I'm very blessed to say. Yeah, man. No, it definitely helped. Editorial playlist was something I was grinding for. After Tumem got placed, there was like a 2-year gap where I didn't get placed on editorials. And within that 2-year gap, I think I dropped like over 100 songs. So it's just me trying to figure out the algorithm, how to get placed and things of that nature. And yeah, man, the first time I got placed, I remember after Tumem was Balling on Ice. And I remember I was in my bed and I woke up to Balling on Ice having like 100 streams or 200 streams. And at that time, like I would wake up and I'll get obviously way less than that. I woke up to that and I shed a tear, bro. Because it was 2 years of active grinding. And I always like imagine myself, me and my manager, we always talk about like, yo, like once we get on the editorial playlist, it's over. Like it's over. Like we're gone. We're clear. Like that's like obviously like the naive mindset that we had, but like it definitely did help. And also with like Unclear, with like Haley and stuff like that, like getting on editorial playlist kind of pushes your music. And I noticed it helps a lot for discovery too. There's people that just on a daily just listening to music. Like you could have a speaker right now and just play music. And my music would happen to come up and be like, oh, who is that? Like I feel like it's a good sense of discovery, and it helped a lot with streams as well. So,
and I guess like even more with like write-ups and all that too, because like you'll have like blog recognition, like from Hot New Hip Hop, from Canadian hip hop to like Shifter magazine to everything else too. Like it kind of like grows up from there too. I mean, even Exclaim too. Like if you're on Exclaim, then you're going places and all that too. So yeah, man.
Definitely shout out to all the blogs, man. a lot of blogs dubbed us, bro. I can't lie. A lot of blogs I've been sending emails since I was like 14. No, since I was like 12 years old. And like just trying to professional emails, trying to get on and stuff like that. And in terms of music wise, I definitely sent well over 1,000 emails. And a lot of people didn't reply, man, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine.
I mean, I think we might get a write up sometime later within the year. So hopefully we'll be tuned in on that, you know. So
oh yeah, for sure. Nah, y'all my guys, bro. Shout out Lens of Yashu, bro.
Yeah,
for
man.
Sure.
Likewise, man. And
yes, sir.
Have you ever felt like you've grown as an artist from the start of your career until now?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I got way better. I used to be trash at rapping. I used to be horrible, garbage. Like, you'd hear me rapping, you'd be like, turn that off immediately. And mind you, too, it's like, not only am I bad at rapping, but the mix isn't even nice. I was terrible at mixing as well. So it's like, to learn how to mix rap vocals was like my hardest struggle music-wise. But once I locked it in, it was GG's. Like, I'm just very blessed that I've grown. And also, since my music is so open and honest, my music is a reflection of myself. So the fact that the music is getting better means that I'm growing as a human as well, you know? Not to say that like I'm growing to be perfect, but like, I guess it's more introspection and more like self-awareness that I'm kind of developing as I grow older. And I feel like you can hear it in my pen that my lyrics are kind of getting more deep and specific, as opposed to like conceptualized love songs. So
yeah, man. No, likewise. And you know, it's even like kind of hard for me to like even like ask about like the whole like inspiration and creative process for your singles, because you've dropped so many singles that kind of reflect on like a lot of things too. But you know, even with like 3 songs that you want to talk about, like I know that I'm plugging this in early. Like, name 3 songs like deep in your heart that you could recommend for people to check out for like the very first time. And you know, what can you tell more about the creative process and inspirations on those?
3 songs. I say A-OK, produced by Rooftop. I'd say Love Me Down Part 2 was definitely like one of my favorite songs I've ever made in my life. So there's that. And then for the 3rd song, I would say Still Going Freestyle.
Oh, true.
Just for some bars, you know. Yeah, all of them are very honest, you know. They're very honest music. Like, you'll hear it, and like if you're like someone in my life, you'll definitely know who and what I'm talking about for sure.
Yeah, no, likewise, man. And we'll definitely like plug those in like on any playlists or anything else so too we have on TLOY too. And I mean, I want to ask this question too, because you've explained about like, you know, being a hardworking artist and creative through like many ways, through radio, through like, you know, being in the studio, through having like a lot of other stuff as well too. But for people that want to be like in your footsteps too, like what would be like some great advice that you would give to any aspiring like artists or people that want to follow like in those footsteps?
Don't quit. Don't quit. I swear on my life it works. Don't quit. I had nothing going for myself music-wise. Everybody thought I was going to flop. And I'm in a different city getting asked about my music. And tomorrow I'm about to meet with a lot of people who support my music from a city that I am not from. I used to be in the basement scratching my head as to how I'm going to get 5 people to tap into my music and really believe in me. So it's really just like, don't quit and keep your thoughts to yourself. Not everybody needs to listen to your dreams. Not everybody needs to be a second opinion, because not everybody is equipped to even answer any of your questions, because music especially is a very lonely road and it's very subjective to whatever you're living. So don't go into it thinking that, oh, because he's an artist or because he likes music, that he's going to be able to help me or she's going to be able to help me. Don't listen to no one, not anybody, not even a single soul. Listen to your gut and your instinct, because there's a lot of people that try to kill dreams just because their dreams got killed, you know? And I had to learn that the very, very hard way. There's a lot of people who laughed at me. There's a lot of people who doubted me. There's a lot of people who, you know, that seen my thing and said, I'm never going to make it. I have a song called Yuck, where the cover art is someone sending me on Snapchat, you will never be famous. Like, these are real life things that happened to me. So I would say like trust your gut instinct. Find that one person that's gonna ride or die for you no matter what, and that's gonna be able to believe in you sometimes more than you believe in yourself. And this goes to however old you are, like young or old, you know, like I feel like it applies to everybody because when you're young, a lot of people tend to claim like you don't know anything, you know, and and if they're older, they'll use it as an excuse to try to diminish you and diminish your thoughts, diminish your opinions, diminish your views, diminish your work. I have a line in Ballin' on Ice that says, something along the lines of like, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, sorry, I'm trying to get the line now. Now it's gonna annoy me. Of my never-ending work. Oh, like reduce me to my age. Like you're reducing me to the years that I've been on this earth, as opposed to like seeing me for the work that I've put in. I was 18 with four years of music experience and like constant research. Like I'd be in classroom, not writing notes at all, reading articles, like watching interviews, like while the teacher's trying to tell me something in my ear, like I'm trying to write lyrics on the piece of paper. Like, you know, like I just feel like you need to really listen to your gut instinct, you know, and I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but I really want to make it known that whatever you're doing in life, no, even if you don't have references of success, it is very possible, you know? I feel like it's very possible. And that's what I'm trying to do for Ottawa, you know? I genuinely believe in the youth of Ottawa because I was a youth in Ottawa and I didn't have the certain a beacon of hope that I could look up to and be like, damn, like he's doing it, like I could be able to do it too, you know? Like on a mainstream scale. So I'm going to be the first person to do that so that I can show the youth of Ottawa, like, hey, bro, like I was once in your shoes, I walked your ends. It is possible, bro. Like it is 100% possible. You can do it because I've done it and I'm from where you're from. So you have absolutely no excuse. So I know I kind of jumped from topic to topic, but I really want to make it known that like it works, bro. Like I swear on my life, everything is possible if you just set your mind to it and you manifest.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
100% too. And, you know, being a person that kind of watches like interviews too, like, I mean, I've watched like a lot of stuff like, you know, like Vlad TV, like No Jumper, Academic sometimes too, or like even like some of the mainstream ones. But what were like some interviews or like other forms of content, like from creators or from artists that you've watched that, you know, consists of something for growth and all that too?
Game?
Yeah.
There hasn't been a Russ interview I haven't watched. I've watched every single Russ interview. If you pull up a Russ interview from 2015, I've watched it. 2016, I've watched it. Every single interview I've watched of his. So he's very adamant on like bringing game to upcoming artists. And he was like a lot of the time our reference point of success, you know, especially since I make music in the kind of same way that he does. So Russ interviews for sure. I would say La Russell is giving out a lot of game too.
Yeah.
I mentioned La Russell, you know. Drake definitely does. Like and the interview I would refer to is his Rap Radar interview with Elliot Wilson and the B-Dot Miller. I would say watch that one. And you're going to get a lot of game on just like his track history and how he does things, like just being at the top of the game. So there's so many interviews I could refer, but like short amount of time. But yeah, those are, I would say like those are the like kind of few that I can mention for absolute game for sure.
Yeah, man.
And an NLN interview.
True. 100%, man. And hopefully people will tap on this too and all that. But we just have like these last few questions right here. But how do you deal with your mental health as a person in your position with everything going on in your life? Have you ever felt at times it could be like very like overwhelming?
A lot. A whole lot. When I first started getting attention during my music, I kind of like broke down because I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to handle attention because nobody would give me any attention, you know? And I would vent to my manager a lot and try to explain to him like kind of what was going on. But it's kind of hard when you're the only one experiencing it because there's very little people that can relate to my situation specifically. From going to being alone in the basement and only knowing one person that enjoys your music to like getting 100+ notifications in one day and like having people follow you that in the scene that have never batted an eye to you once, you know? Like, especially in the first early days, it was very overwhelming. Even recently, I'll keep it a buck, bro. Even recently, bro, it's been weird, bro. Like, I can't even lie, bro. Like, I'd be walking outside, like, I'll go to like, I don't know, like a shop, like just a store or something. And like someone would literally stop me and be like, yo, like I remember this guy that stopped me when I was going to Walmart and he was like, yo, like I recognize you. I'm thinking that I knew him from way back when, but it was actually a supporter, you know? And I don't know, it's just like, that's such a unique experience. And I don't know anybody personally that deals with that. So it's like to be able to look at someone and be like, yo, bro, I'm going through this, like, do you feel me? Not to say like, woe is me, but it's kind of like, it's weird in a sense, you know, that transition is kind of awkward and you feel kind of alone in that path. But I'm learning to adjust to it now. I think one of the things was like coming to realize that like, yo, I'm putting my face out there, I'm putting my music out there, people are going to know me, you know? But I think it's because I've been trapped in a basement for many years that I'm still the same person inside. It's just certain people now view me differently. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, 100%.
So it's hard to kind of maneuver with it. But I think now I'm starting to get used to it. But I don't know about this meet and greet tomorrow, bro. I might get back in the hole again. I can't lie, bro.
No, 100% too. But hopefully it works out too. Hopefully like people show up and, you know, the fan base like comes in like clutch, you know, very well, like either way too. So
thank you, bro.
Yeah, man. But do you have any regrets overall, or do you regret nothing?
Regrets in life?
Yeah.
No, not a single regret.
True.
I feel like living a regret is like living in stress because you're always thinking about what you did wrong.
True.
You know, like everybody's gonna make mistakes in life. It's just about, you know, learning from them and moving on, or not learning from them and getting smacked in the face with karma. This is how life rolls, you know. So no regrets.
Not 100% too. And do you have any like final words you'd like to say? And where can people like follow you like on social media and all that?
One, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for interviewing me because there's many people that we've contacted before and they didn't want to interview us. So you're the one to catch the NLN interview before it blows up. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Likewise.
NLN everywhere where you listen to music. Just press play and enjoy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Likewise, man. And you know, NLN, you know, it's
Yes,
a pleasure
sir.
like tapping
Yes,
in,
sir,
like linking
bro.
up with you and all that too.
For
Like
sure.
I get to like really tap in with like, you know, an artist like even outside the city too, because you know, we always gotta support like everyone that's like coming up, whether it's Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal,
For sure.
Vancouver, you know, and like hopefully we'll do more stuff like this to make it in person, to make those vibes like that too. And you know, to close off, you know, this is Josh, also known as Yashu. You know, you'll definitely see this on all platforms too. If you have Spotify, if you have Apple Podcasts, or if you even have like Buzzsprout or Google, you're gonna see this like everywhere too. Like, you know, audio wise too. Like just like put in your headphones and you're gonna like hear it from there. And then YouTube, you know, you'll see it on YouTube. Click on my channel, like Lens of Yashu or TLOY 2, if you want to see the clips. And yeah, you can see it from there too. And you know, this is Josh, also known as Yashu, episode 44, TLOY Talks, signing off.